You do the intro.
Hey guys, welcome to episode
We picked the dead man today.
12, right? We're on episode 12 or 13, I'm losing count.
I'm losing count as well. That's when you know that you're actually doing something, right?
Yeah,
When you're like, I don't know what episode we're on. But
of Habano del Podcasto, and I am extremely excited to introduce the cigars we're going to be smoking today. These are the Rocky Patel Vintage 2003 with the Cameroon wrapper. And I've only had one cigar with the Cameroon dropper before, and I have to say it's very interesting smoke, and I think we're gonna have fun one with this, guys.
You ever smoked a Rocky Patel before?
I smoked the vintage 1990, I believe, and it was one of the cigars or one of the blends that actually made like Rocky Patel a signature like name, and quite an interesting brand with quite an interesting story behind it as well. So I'm very excited for this one.
yeah, I love how like he just took one for himself and
Actually, I took
Oh.
one with a bit of construction issues here. I
So
can see
that's mine.
with the construction issues. I'll smoke it. It's fine.
well, what's wrong with it?
It's just a little bit of the wrapper was coming off the side.
There's a bit of bit of a crack all throughout the first third.
Because when I open up my cigar box, my daughter, she just wants to dive in and grab this cigar.
So I picked
What
those.
what's her favorite blend?
So far, I think she's a Cuban cigar girl.
Is she?
So I picked those up
Oh,
from. I'm not sure what's the name of the shop,
Letterback.
the tobacco that's in the Fairmont. Yeah, in the Fairmont. So I was there having steaks, some steak at.
Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I got you a cigar from there. I mean, would you rather have an invite or a cigar?
Yeah, a
So,
cigar.
there you go.
I'd rather have the steak.
Our cigar expert, ladies and gentlemen.
Man, this smells phenomenal.
I'm getting a lot of
It's
chocolate.
insanely sweet for me.
Yeah.
It's very prominent in terms of the sweetness on the nose.
Have you ever smelled a cigar from? What do you call this? The head or the
I think
foot?
it's
The foot.
The foot.
It's the
Have you
foot.
ever smelled? It's always so intense.
I feel that there's a different nose profile on
Yeah,
the
because
foot and
because that's
on
the
the
filler,
body.
right? So usually the wrapper is different than what's the filler is.
Good point. So the wrapper with this is Cameroon,
Yeah.
but the binder and the filler are from Honduras and I want to say Nicaragua, but I
Mm.
might be wrong on that one.
What cut are you gonna go in with?
It's a Toro, and with me, my go-to is a V cut, so I'm gonna stay true to that.
No, honestly,
Omar?
I'm nowadays I'm loving the whole scissors thing.
The scissors is so killer.
Yeah.
Because you can you can see where the cap is, right? And then you
Honestly, I
can.
don't even look at the. I just go like this.
Okay.
I just take.
No, but you can see the cap. Right?
Yeah, but that's the thing. I don't go all the way even to the cap. All I do is I just go like
Wow.
it's basically.
Ah, so cool. I love these scissors.
So it's quite clean flavors I'm getting on a cold draw.
See, the flavors that you get from the cold draw is so similar to what you get on the nose from the foot itself.
That's a good point.
It
That's
complements
very
it.
true.
Yeah.
That's very true, actually.
Shout out to my cousin Awes who got me these scissors. He
Thank you,
cut-
Omes.
He cut his finger because he didn't realize how
Shit.
sharp they are.
What happened to the 3D printed Habano del Podcasto cigar cases? Have you ever
They're
gotten a
coming. So
chance?
that's Hisham who's coming.
Oh, that's the he's coming.
Jamie?
Oh, nice.
Jamie, he's the one that does the 3D
No
printing.
way.
Yeah, tell him we
He's
will
gonna be in charge
accept.
of the e-commerce store.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we will accept his Habano del Podcasto gig if he gets us a case
Yeah,
each with
we'll get
our
it.
initials on it as well. Just make it as hard as possible for him.
HDP, yeah, man.
No, not only HDP. Your initials on one, my initials on one, and Omar's initials on one.
You know,
And then
he got banned from what's that store? Etsy? No, what's the one that you
Etsy.
sell?
eBay.
No,
No,
Etsy,
Etsy.
the one that used to sell like your own handmade art and
Yeah,
stuff and
because he was making all these bookmarks with different branded things,
non-copyrighted kind of thing. Okay.
and they shut him down. Then he had to appeal and everything because he had money stuck on him.
Wow.
I'm getting a lot of chocolate.
Smells acidic, by the way, from your cigar.
It's very
Just give me the matches.
it's very creamy and woody. With the cream is really prominent on mine in the beginning. That might not be that strong, by the way.
So I've smoked two interesting Rocky Patels before. You guys want to know about?
Yeah, please do share.
Okay. One was called a 1990 vintage. And it was a torpedo,
Yeah,
and it tasted just like a Cuban cigar.
That's
that
the one
was
that
the
you smoked, right?
one I smoked. Yeah, it was probably one of the most interesting smokes I've had.
I feel like you say that on
Non-Cubans.
every cigar that you smoke.
Uh,
With non-Cubans, generally, well, one of the things that I've noticed is that they're all they remind me of each other.
Because they have that kind of like that kind of scent, like that flowery kind of
Yeah,
thing.
like when I smoke like a when I smoke like like Maduro like leaf non-Cuban from maybe from the three brands. Generally speaking, they all kind of remind me of each other in hindsight. But that Maduro, that vintage 1990. Funny enough, I smoked it also with my brother.
uh,
Yeah, and it was a fantastic smoke. It was really nice.
I smoked it at my farm. It was so nice.
In Pakistan.
Yeah. I also smoked another cigar, right? Rocky Patel, and it's called the 55 Titan, and it's 8 inches long and 55 ring gauge.
8 inches.
Yeah, 'cause I got it from Letterback in Medina Jumeirah because it just looked like such an interesting smoke. And I started. I was with my brother again and my dad, and we went for lunch in Dubai. Came back, and I was really full, so I thought, okay, this is the perfect time to smoke an 8 inch cigar. I was halfway through it, and I thought, I'm like done, but it's like there's another cigar left there. It's like two cigars in one. Right?
So then what did you do? You just
I don't know. I think I just kept it for another time and smoked it. But I don't think I got all the way through it. 8 inches worth of cigar.
Oh, but by the way, speaking of that, because you always do this, like how how much is it to how long can you keep a cigar and smoke it again? Like, is it a day? Is it maximum a day or two?
I think maximum a day you're pushing it. If you wait till the next day, it's a bit late. But if you've enjoyed that cigar, there's a wee bit left. It doesn't really matter. You're just gonna have a few puffs of it, have some coffee, and you're done
so
with it.
I have a funny story about that. So when I first started smoking, early days, um, I'd buy probably a couple of those Quorum cigars, right? And I remember I bought maybe three or four, and I put them. I did a bit of research. I'm like, okay, so you store them inside a Tupperware. You put your potato pack inside, and that's that. So I remember one of them was a Churchill, and I smoked half of it, and then I'm like, well, you know what? I'd want to, I'm gonna stop it here, and I'll smoke the rest at at some other time. So I put it out. I chopped it off at the
Oh,
foot, and then I put it back in the humidor.
Yeah.
So the next time that I wanted to go and smoke, the entire
Humidor smelled bad.
the Tupperware, it smelled like it smelled horrible. So I actually I think I had to throw out the other sticks inside as well
throw out.
because I'm like they're probably not smokable.
Why would
There's
that?
nothing as not smokable.
Look, it
First of
was in
all,
the beginning of my journey, and they were really cheap sticks. So like what, I'll
yeah,
just
then yeah, that's. I
go
mean,
buy new ones.
still, see,
Eight, I think it was like 15 dirhams a stick or something.
the ones that you got from the smoker center.
Yeah, those quorum ones.
Okay, okay.
I've been
They're
thinking.
so bad.
I've been thinking, Tallham. Remember that time when we went to Dubai airport and you got like 100 budget cigars, and I got like 6 Monte Cristo number twos.
Yeah.
If you were to go now, would you buy those 6 Monte Cristos versus the 100 budget
Bro,
cigars?
I just came back from duty free, and I had the choice
Yeah,
of the four Davidoffs or the 36 Piedros, and I bought the Piedros.
but now if you were to go
Yeah,
now,
but like I mentioned, like in hindsight,
yeah,
I think I slightly regret my choice, and I'm like, you know what, those Davidoffs would have been a better choice. But then I've also invited uh, half the team
yeah.
to come and smoke on Tuesday. So I'm glad I have those budget sticks because
But
I would have like not invited them if I had the Davidoffs because I'm like there's all the ones I have are premium smokes and I'm not just going to be handing them out like it's Halloween.
Yeah, but you have to have a big heart.
Yeah, there are many like ways like, to like show how big your heart is, right?
Remember
But like,
last year Ramadan when we went for the team iftar
oh man,
and I took my cigar box and Tolham was so angry that people are smoking. It was not even his cigars, and he's just angry that
I
they're
got
smoking.
so annoyed at the amount. One of the things, one of the things that happened is that we made the announcement. I remember early on, and we asked whoever wants to smoke, let us know, and we'll get them those cigars. So only like maybe 3 or 4 people wanted to smoke. At the end of the iftar, the entire team was there. I remember.
But that's joyous, right? You remember that occasion. I'm
I
sure
remember the
everyone. I'm sure everyone
amount of
who was there.
wasted sticks
so he
all
remembers
over
the
those
how
ashtrays.
furious he was,
Yeah, but all I remember is everyone having a good time sitting together.
and that's what cigars are all about.
100%.
I remember all the waste.
I mean, thank God you
That's what I
didn't. Then
remember.
thank God you didn't buy those Davidos.
Hey,
Please just stick to your
Yeah.
budget cigars.
But that's the thing. You've had
If I had
you've had
but-
Jose's
but-
before, right?
I've had them. Yes, actually on when in Jordan was the last time I had them. They're
Okay.
really nice.
So they are really nice. It's a nice smoke. It's not. I'll tell you this. Like I've had 36 of them. Not a single one of them had any issues. No construction issues. No draw issues. Nothing. And the really like you can tell they're Cuban.
Yeah.
Right?
So yeah.
So you're
100%.
gonna enjoy them. It's not like it's not you're gonna. Here's the thing, I said this last time. I think that everyone should have like a budget smoke that he stocks up on, that can have as a daily or can have whenever like you want to smoke, but you don't want to go into something that is, really dear to your heart.
Yeah.
Those Davidoffs, you're always gonna be looking at that humidor, wanting to go ahead and light one up, but not wanting to light one up because you don't know when you're gonna get a chance to go ahead and buy it.
Yeah. So like with me, like there's a couple things, right? These days, I'm finding that genuinely the only time I have to enjoy a smoke is on the pod.
Yeah.
There's no other time in my day where I can just say, oh, you know what, let me just have a smoke on the patio. Like with the weather is getting kind of and we're entering the summer
Yeah.
phase
Yeah, true, but you have a lot of
of the
also
bay.
breaks right now in summer. So you're going for Eid to Saudi. You're for sure gonna smoke some, and then you have the other Eid, and then you have your other booked
Honestly,
holidays. Just take
that's
a
what I
stick with you.
thought. You know, I'm going like to bring sticks, right? But like this this when we traveled last week was the first time that we traveled with my kid, and yeah, it's less of a holiday, man, and you're on a call all the time. So the only so basically the only time I might have to smoke is probably at night, but the majority of the time I'm already beat at night. You know what I mean? And I just crash,
Yeah.
which is why um, one of the advantages for me of budget sticks is they're very good to introduce like to people into the world of cigars without giving them something that's too kind of high end that they might not appreciate.
But also at the
So,
same time, you would feel fine with leaving a budget cigar unfinished
oh
because
yeah,
you have to run away, do something,
100%.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
So you'll have that luxury of saying that, oh, actually, I haven't smoked this all the way to the north.
No, no, 100%. Yeah, and like generally speaking, it's um you when you're smoking a premium smoke, you have to kind of set the time. Usually, there's some kind of an occasion behind it, and yeah, with budget smokes, like you said, you can just enjoy them anytime. So I'm probably in the first third, and I'm glad that the construction issues didn't like really have an effect on the burn line
Mm.
Is
on mine.
smoking quite fast, no?
It is.
It is. Um,
And
but
it's the
what are the
smoke
notes you're
output
getting,
is a bit
Omar,
also.
on it so far?
And I'm not getting much. It seems to be a bit quite kind of average. I'm not loving it as much as the recent smokes that we've had.
There's nothing,
There's nothing distinctive
yeah,
about it.
there's nothing that you can actually say that, oh, this reminds me of something. I'm
With
getting a little bit of chamomile. I don't know why. Do you ever get chamomile or herbs or like hints of tea from cigars?
I
Because I
got
always get that. I never get coffee. I always get like green tea or like chamomile or some
honestly,
aniseed.
I guess off a few smokes that I got hints of like peppermint.
Or this just tastes like tobacco.
With me, it's quite woody, I'd say, and it's quite creamy as well.
So just on that topic about budget cigars, for me, I would rather have quality over quantity.
Yeah,
I would rather smoke once or once every 2 weeks and have a really good cigar than smoke every day and have some budget cigars.
yeah. What budget smokes? I like to smoke them when I'm probably doing something else at the same time.
You're not like
I'd say.
focusing on the cigar,
Yeah, exactly.
like
So
working on something
if I'm
or
working on something, or if I'm reading a book and I just wanna to enjoy it with a smoke,
I've never
I'd be
done that.
happy to kind of.
I've never done that.
what about watching a movie?
So if I'm watching, the only really time I've done that is I've watched the whole of Sopranos while
Mm.
smoking cigars.
Really.
But again, it was all good cigars. I had my Cubans stocked up.
So got through The Sopranos as well when I bought that a 25 sampler pack from the States.
Yeah.
And I remember I'd watch the Sopranos and review those sticks. This was back in 2022 or 2020, in 2021, 2022.
Mm.
Quite memorable. Would you say that Sopranos is your
Number one.
top show?
Number one is Sopranos and Succession.
Which
I love them.
what but Sopranos would probably be
Sopranos I've watched
number one.
3 times.
For me, it's a hard rewatch. I watched it just once, and I can't see myself watching it again.
Oh, it's so
I
good.
like watching clips of it, but not like whole episodes.
With Succession, have you felt that? I don't know how this might sound bad. Have you felt that it turns you just a tiny little bit of an asshole when you
Yeah.
watch it? You're no longer you're like, you know what? I want to live like that. Like I'm gonna start thinking like that.
Yeah.
With me, it those like scenes with the transformation, specifically of Greg,
Mm.
uh, because he starts out as just a normal person, so you can kind of relate to him because he's probably like not that rich and he's just getting into that role. So you kind of say, okay, he's like the normal one, but then you slowly when you see his transformation into slowly becoming like
But he's part of the family as well. Right?
He's part of
yeah,
the family, but like when
but
he
he
was
starts
working
off as
Yeah.
like
a
like a nobody,
costume. What was he, like a mascot or something in a
Yeah,
theme park?
the
Yeah.
theme park.
When he got like beaten up by kids and stuff.
Yeah, but then honestly, the relationship between Greg and Tom became like one of my favorites
Well, you
in the
can't,
show. It was hilarious.
what was it? You can't make a Greg without a Tomlet.
Yeah. Oh man. Or the scene where Tom makes him fire all those people on Zoom.
For me, the scene that got to me was when Tom was gifting the patek.
Yeah.
And he was like, "This is a patek." I was like, "So, all right, thank you. I don't care." And then you kind of discover that there's levels
Yeah.
and things
100%.
that you
Of
don't
wealth.
even know of. But I don't know. I don't think that I'll ever enjoy living like that. I just think that you'll stop enjoying things in life.
Yeah.
You'll like normal things in life no longer have any meaning or taste to it. Like
But then you crave different things, right? So when you get to that level, it's about craving power. You can see that with Elon Musk, right? He's got everything he's ever wanted, and now it's just about accumulating power.
Also,
yeah, I don't know. For
I'd
me,
say
that's
that
like
with money,
sickness.
Yeah.
it's more of like it solves problems, but it doesn't give you happiness. But it does solve
See,
a
I
bunch
don't,
of
I don't,
problems
I
that
don't
you have.
believe in that much. See, it's not about money doesn't give buy you happiness or all that. It's just you need to know how you're gonna spend. You need to know what makes you happy, and then money can just be an enabler for that, if in some sort. But if you're like, if getting you happy is just sitting at a park, an empty park, a really nice one, having a cigar and just enjoying nature and just this peace of mind, if this what makes you happy,
Mm.
then technically speaking, you don't really need that much money
Yeah.
to do that.
People say money can't buy happiness. They just don't know where to shop.
Yeah, that's the thing. In the end, like you don't need to like even if you're like a rich person, like you don't need to spend millions of dollars to be happy because you will find something that will make you happy that doesn't really involve that much. And you
Yeah,
can still do it. It's not like, oh, you can't. No, you're super rich. You can't go to the park and sit down and have a cigar and enjoy your time. You still can do it.
yeah,
It's
but
just they don't want. It's just it becomes something that is not in their agenda anymore because of the amount of things that they're doing is all about spending that money.
yeah. But what I'd say is that the one thing it can give you is the ability to can help others. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I'm pretty like sure, if you were, if you had the capability of retiring your parents or whatever it is, and it's taking care of your like loved ones. I think that in itself will. I'm generally a believer that that you can't spend on yourself to make you happy. Or that kind of happiness is very temporary. But when you spend on others, it's that generally
Th-
is a form of real
all right,
satisfaction
then what do you
is when you
think of?
help others out.
Yeah, but then what do you think of this? Like, for example, Bezos or Elon, right? Look at how many people are employed under their companies, right?
Yeah.
So in one way or another, you are helping thousands of people afford life, which is one of the most expensive things out there.
Yeah, but that's not personal, right? Like,
It's not personal, but if you think of it in that way, then why wouldn't that give you happiness? What, like for example, you Tolham, you have a business, and this business is helping support, you know, uh, let's say 10 people. 10 people work in your business. Those 10 people, they have their own families, they have their own kids, and technically, because of your business or your line of work, they're able to afford a good, decent life for those for their families.
yeah,
In one way or another,
but that's
yes, there is a.
employment. You know what
It
I
is
mean?
employment, but still, you're providing that choice. You're helping them in providing them a place where they can work and earn a good money
Yeah,
for
yeah.
their families.
But basically, you're asking them to trade their time and effort in exchange for like money, right?
Yeah,
They're part of your business. You know,
100%.
it's not the same as like for example, you know, what's called taking care of like family members that are in need. That's something that you're doing, but not expecting anything back in return,
No, no,
right?
I agree with you.
Employment, like with you're expecting something in return, because and end of the day, it's not
It's
a
a
charity.
transaction.
Yeah, it's a kind of a transaction. End of
Yeah,
the day, if they're not gonna be doing like their jobs properly, at some point you're gonna have to you're gonna have to change them.
no,
You
of
know?
course, but that's the thing. At least you gave them a chance.
Yeah,
Right? And especially in parts of the world where you see unemployment is at its highest, right? You're providing employment, and regardless what it is, you because again in a business you'll have levels, you'll have hierarchies, you'll have all the way from let's say office boys and T boys all the way up to managers and C level people. So I get your point, and yes, helping family, helping people also is I think the top when it comes to helping out, but also opening a business, providing a place for people to come and work and earn a decent money that can support their families and stuff is also something I don't know, from my perspective, is helping out, because at the end you can support family as much as you want, but there's always going to be that limit, because there's a thin line of people just خلاص, depending on help that's coming outside and not, basically just sitting and not doing anything.
well, yeah, it depends on how like rich you are. So if you're like, and I'd like to get the perspective of you, Omar, because you've probably, from the three of us, you probably interacted with people of wealth in your career, generally speaking. And if I recall, the person that introduced us to this lounge, you mentioned, is quite a wealthy individual as well.
Yeah.
So,
So
from your interaction with these people, what would your input on this be?
for me, happiness does not come from things. It comes from within, and I've thought about this a lot. And for me, what happiness is a having things to do, like having a purpose, going to work, building a business, um, doing things like having your own podcast where you're meeting with people, smoking cigars. So having things to do, that's A. B is being comfortable in your own skin, not having to buy or chase material objects, because that will never get you happiness, because then you'll just be chasing the next thing.
Hmm.
If you think happiness is buying a car, buying a house, buying a private jet, you'll always notice that when you buy that new car, that initial happiness will last a few weeks. Then you'll notice that somebody else has a bigger car, better car, or you don't have a plane. So you're always chasing material things. Those material things are never going to make you happy.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So A, having a purpose to your life. B, not being overly reliant on material and possessions, and C, having people who actually care about you and
Mm.
having loved ones, having a family, having friends.
Mm.
Those three things are the keys to happiness.
Mm.
And if you think about it, you'll come to the same realization.
100%.
Would,
Yeah,
would you
I'd
would
agree
you
with that.
would you also put financial freedom somewhere in that spectrum?
So financial freedom would be that in that second bucket where you're not chasing material objects, but you're comfortable within yourself and you're
Mm.
comfortable with what you have. Because if you are always chasing for more, then that's not going to make you happy because you're always thinking, okay, I'm going to be happy when I make $1 million. I'm going to be
Mm.
happy when I make 5 million. But if you have a purpose to your life that you're okay, you're working to build something like a business, but you're also content with what you have currently financially, and you have a family, that is what's generally going to make you happy.
Yeah, yeah.
The opposite of happiness, I believe, is A, having inherited money that you don't have a
Mm.
purpose in your life, which is why you'll see a lot of celebrities, a lot of wealthy people consumed by addiction because they've got no purpose in their life. You already have $1 billion lying in your
Mm.
trust fund. What do you have to do? You've got nothing else, nothing to do on a daily basis.
It's apparent also in succession as well that
Yeah,
that the kids, if you
they
look at
don't have a purpose, right?
and what their lives and problems are versus what Logan is like and with the rest of them, it's
I think
quite
it becomes then your only purpose is power or
Yeah.
controlling that specific thing, and
And B, if you're the opposite of happiness in the B category is where you're just chasing the latest material object.
mm.
You'll notice that anybody who's always chasing buying new cars, buying new designer clothes, buying new designer bags, especially women who are always chasing the latest Birkin bag, you'll notice that they're not happy.
Mm.
C, you'll notice if somebody doesn't have a family, they're alone, they'll be consumed with loneliness, and that will also not make them happy. So I've thought about this a lot. That's uh, that's my key to happiness.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I'd agree with all 3 points as well. But would you say that if you, let's say that you're just a kind of a person that doesn't have a family, or with your circumstance, let's just say that you're not close to your
Yeah,
family members, would you say being part of community of some sort of
having
will that
friends, right?
can be a kind of like a replacement,
100%.
being a part of a cigar community,
Yeah,
a car community, whatever it is.
yeah.
Yeah, Adam has a Jeep. I have a cousin that has a Jeep.
you have a Subaru.
I have a Subaru, but there's no
You're the only one that has actually. You have
community
You have
two.
two
of
Subarus.
He
Subarus.
has a community of his own, right?
But
He was
well,
like,
one,
"There's no one else having a Subaru. I need this community. Let me just buy another one."
do you know that I was actually contacted by Subaru to shoot like a 10-second clip of uh, of me in the cars, and to just as part of a marketing thing. And I was like, in the video, I was like, "What's better than having one Subaru?" And they go like, "It's having two Subarus."
Did he do it?
Yeah. It's probably online somewhere, but I don't know where it is. But yeah, like well, one of the things that I kind of
I think.
that I
Sorry to
noticed
cut
about
you
the
off.
Jeep
I think
community.
Maliha needs to find that clip and link it somewhere in the
Yeah,
description.
I don't know where it is, but I'd
Imagine
love
that
to
they've
see
never
it.
posted it. They were like, "How can
Yeah.
we tell the guy that she didn't actually make it?"
But yeah, like well, one of the things I've noticed here, especially in Dubai, the Jeep community is quite a very, very passionate one,
Hmm.
and and just watching it from the outside, there are many people that come to Dubai like to kind of you get into they come here for like work or whatever it is, and they're away from their families, and I think it's actually the kind of the reality of many people here is that they kind of build a circle of friends or whatever it is, or a community that become like their family here in the city, which is quite I'd say which is quite an interesting aspect of Dubai life, I'd say.
Because you're talking about like the majority of people in Dubai are expats,
Mm.
right? Away from their families, and technically speaking, everyone misses that circle of you know people you can rely on, people that you can have conversations with and feel a bit intimate, and that's why you
Mm.
feel that there's a lot of those kind of communities because people are technically lonely in Dubai, and because of how fast paced it is,
Oh yeah.
it's so hard to make friends in Dubai like that, right?
I was just watching a video that they released some a poll that UAE is ranked third highest of time spent at work.
Hmm.
So, on average,
Definitely not you.
yeah. Actually, that's not true. Anyways, people Dubai spend an average of 51 hours at work per week in Dubai.
How much do you spend, Tom?
Not
Just
enough.
just regular at 40 hours.
So, Tallham, you want to tell us about Mr. Rocky Patel?
Yeah. Um. First, before I jump into that, I think I'm getting into my second third. How are you guys enjoying it so far?
It's probably one of the worst smokes I've had. All I'm tasting is tobacco. It's like I'm smoking a cigarette or something.
I'm getting a lot of a lot of woody notes. What? Creamy, like woody notes. I'd say for me. Not much pepper, but the woody notes are very prominent. Like you're not getting into that at all.
Nah, I'm just getting tobacco. It's not good, not the most enjoyable experience.
It really didn't change from the time
Yeah,
I lit
exactly.
it up to
Yeah,
now. It's
there's not
giving me
much
the same taste.
transitioning
Yeah,
happening.
I think we've been spoiled by smoking some amazing cigars recently. Right?
I think that's the thing, and I think that's what I told you guys in the beginning. Like, are we gonna reach a point where we're only gonna enjoy smoking like Cubans? And I
Um,
don't want it to come to like not Cubans, but like good
Yeah,
smoke, good sticks, and I don't want it to reach that part with me because
but
I'm
then
still
again,
it
exploring.
when
probably
you
will.
bought this cigar, you were still early in your journey,
Yeah,
right? Because before you'd smoked some really good cigars,
yeah, yeah.
you bought this. This was about 2 months ago or something. You gave us these
And more. I think.
more maybe.
Yeah, I think it was the early days of the pod.
Yeah,
It was like early days. I think it's November time, something
no,
like that. Yeah.
this was like 3-4 months ago.
And honestly, didn't even think of them. Like I went into the shop, I was looking around, and then I saw, Rocky Patel. I liked what it said, vintage 2003 Cameroon. I
Yeah,
was like, let me try those out. And I'm surprised that it actually went on the aficionados list of the top 25 cigars in
In
I think
2017.
I think you can
2017.
manipulate those lists, right? If you're a sponsor cigar aficionado, you
Hmm.
can generally get your cigars pushed up those lists.
Okay, okay.
I don't know. With me, I'm I'm enjoying this stick. It's not the most memorable stick,
Yeah, it's not a
but
horrible stick.
but
It's just it's not unique.
but the burn is good. I'm liking the smoke output. I'm enjoying like the
The
creaminess of
construction
it.
is good.
It's quite creamy. At least, like you're not
I'm not getting any creaminess.
getting that
What's
like
what's the history
mouthful.
of Rocky Patel?
It's one of the most interesting it's stories I've read, because like, usually when you read about like the more established brands, they tend to be it's a family that that own a farm in in Honduras or in Nicaragua or whatever it is. Rocky Patel, he started out. Rocky Patel. He started out actually as a lawyer in L.A. Um, and this was back in the 90s where he got and he, through his his line of work he got introduced to the world of cigars, and when it fascinated him to such a point where he actually went ahead um, and he bought a piece of land in Honduras, um, and he opened up a farm. In the beginning, it's with the name of the company. It wasn't Rocky Patel. It
Yeah.
was Indian Tobacco,
Yeah.
and this was in 1995. And why I like the story is that it's very like reminiscent. I feel of Dubai. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like many people back in the 90s probably couldn't um, understand like the vision of the people building this the city. And with Rocky Patel himself, he had his people in his immediate family and circle thought that him giving up being a successful lawyer in the States to basically become a a cigar provider, or like growing it in Honduras to kind of penetrate an industry that where his competition is already well established,
Yeah.
so they didn't give him much of a chance. But he is probably one of the he's known for his work ethic in the industry. He's probably on the road promoting his sticks for like 300 days in a year. He's always on the road,
Yeah.
and that work ethic, I think you read a lot of success stories,
Yeah.
specifically of people like from India and Pakistan here as well, with a work ethic like that. And one of the people that come to mind, I don't know if you guys are also familiar with the story of the entrepreneur that that was the owner of the magazine Drive Arabia, I believe. Have you heard of that a guy?
No.
He was an entrepreneur where for 20 like years he was also a guy from India, and then he sold his company to Dubizzle um, a few years back, and he lived in Karama the entire time in a sharing flat, and and his roommates were on his whole journey they thought that he just tested out car rentals all the way up until when he sold when he sold his company. So that kind of like work ethic, in Rocky Patel to kind of penetrate that industry. And when he came up with a signature blend, I believe it was the 1990 vintage. It really it made its mark in the industry.
Mm. He had another business before he went into cigars.
No, I didn't know that.
He owned a nudist resort.
A what?
A nudist resort.
Are you serious? You what in Nicaragua, in
In,
Honduras?
I think in the US.
No way.
I mean, there's a lot of ways of leaving your, your mark in the world, and I guess he wanted to leave his mark in many, many different things.
But yeah, it's a brand that's new, that I'd say it made its mark. in the cigar industry.
No, it
And they
has,
made
but
some good sticks as well.
But that's the thing. Sorry to cut you off. When you look at the stories of cigar brands and like how they originate, you kind of only see like two stories: either legacy, family wise, like
Yeah,
passed down from families, although, or passion.
yeah,
That's it. Those are the only two stories I hear about cigars or
yeah.
cigar brands. Either people who are really passionate about the
Mm,
leaf, and they go ahead and they start selling it or smoking it, and then they're like, you know what, I want to do my own
yeah.
cigar brand, or legacy passed down from family and so forth. You don't really hear much about you know people just doing it just for the sake of business. Or like, you know what? There's a lot of demand for cigars. I'm gonna go create a cigar brand just for that specific reason.
yeah. I think because it's really hard, man. Yeah, to kind of to if you guys remember in the Davidoff documentary, that whole journey of
Mm.
from planting it
Yeah, but if
to
you if
curing it, it's it's not an easy industry to kind of just jump into.
100%, but if you have the money, you can always hire people just to do that for you.
You can, but I feel it's an industry where like you
Led by
kind of
passion or
yeah,
purpose.
you know, you that you need to either to have the passion, and you need to get people that have the passion as well.
But where was the passion when he was creating this tech? Because it's like dead.
I think whatever leftovers they had, they were like, you know what?
I don't know.
Let's just call it
I'm
vintage 2003.
I'm enjoying it. It's like you know so the not every smoke is gonna give you those transitions from the first third to the second third to the last third. So like it's a Cameroon wrapper. The other Cameroon trapper which I smoked was at a launch of I forget the name of the brand, but it's it had a gold band on it.
The African brand
Yes,
starts with M.
it starts with an M. Yeah,
Merfield or something.
yes, something like that. And I remember that the owner was there at the launch,
Yeah.
and it was also in my on my palate quite a one dimensional stick, I'd say. But the owner himself, I remember when I asked him about the notes, he went into details of what they expect in the first third and the second third and last third.
Yeah.
So there is a chance that maybe our palates aren't that
I
sophisticated
don't
to
know. I think
pick up on those
if
notes.
you look at what we smoked recently, we've smoked special edition Cubans. We smoked that Davidoff Yabasa,
With the
which
special
was
edition,
insanely tasty. Like I had so many different flavor notes. So we've smoked the Amarati by Oliva. We've smoked some really good cigars, and I think this one just hasn't uh,
yeah,
hasn't hit my palate at
I'd
all.
agree. I'd agree 100% because when you smoked the limited edition Cuban, that for me
That
was
was a transition in your
probably
palate.
the highlight of this like season, or it was the most enjoyable smoke I had.
So I,
With the Davidoff,
yeah,
if I remember, it kind of with the strength of it, just like really
yeah,
it got to me that with that smoke. Well, like you said,
but it's memorable, right?
it was a memorable smoke.
But
Yeah,
also because I've never like I haven't smoked that much in cigars in my life, and the Yamasa, what I liked about it is the transition between each
Mm,
flavor was instant. It's not like you know this flavor is fading out and then
yeah.
another flavor is coming in. No, you're like one puff you're something, and then the next puff
yeah,
you're at a different level.
yeah, and you'll get um sticks that you're probably not expecting to surprise you, and they will. And you'll smoke sticks that you're expecting them to kind of to have a big impact, but they won't. And one of the sticks for me that I've smoked that I was expecting something of like like I was expecting that smoke to be quite memorable, but it wasn't. Was the Judge?
Mm.
which one cigar of the year, I think,
Yeah.
last year, in one of these publications. But with me, when I smoked it, it wasn't that memorable. And what we have it, and I'm excited for you like to try it. Tell me what you think
Mm.
of it.
But you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of that Rocky Patel 55 Titan, which was 8 inches of this exact
Hmm.
same flavor all the way.
Oh,
So
What do you think it might? I think this is probably one of the first sticks that you smoked that's from Honduras.
mm,
With the rest of the ones we've been smoking were either from Nicaragua, from Cuba, or from the
Dominican.
Dominican Republic. So, like maybe there's something about the region where this tobacco is grown that's just not vibing with
It could
us.
be, but maybe I need to research why that 1990 Rocky Patel was so good and this is so bad. What's the difference?
mm.
Well, with that one, number one, I think it was a Maduro leaf, if I
Was it?
recall. This is a Cameroon. I've never had a Maduro that what wasn't interesting.
Yeah.
Every Maduro I've had was quite interesting, just because it's the fermentation process that it went through as well. With the way that it created those flavors with Maduro leaves in general,
Mm.
with the notes you get off Maduro leaves, I feel are just quite memorable, generally speaking.
I just think with our podcast, we have to be uh, more selective on what we smoke going forward.
Well, we did have an episode with Quinteros, so I really enjoyed those.
Yeah.
Just that's a question for the both of you. Did you ever have a Connecticut leaf or like a shade that was not one dimensional?
Yeah. I am Connecticut, the nub. I really enjoyed.
Really? Did you
I,
see?
I, I love the nubs, all of them. Connecticut, Habanos, Maduro,
But would you say
all of them.
because of how small they are, it's just one flavor profile all the way through, or was it, or did you get the transitions in with nubs? Because I haven't smoked any nubs yet. I smoked
I
one
can't
nub
I
in.
can't really remember the transitions, but I can tell you I enjoyed them. I love the size of them. Um, I just love the taste of them. Whereas this,
Honestly, I think it reminds me a lot of the Gurkha
yeah, okay,
Ghost. One dimensional, not much, too much smoke output, smokes super fast.
I'd say that the finish is quite short as well. That 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 there is no build-up of flavors on your palate
Yeah,
after you've blown the smoke. But but, but for me, those like woody notes with the creamy notes are there. Like
but it's
I'm
sad
getting
because
those notes.
this whole weekend I've been looking forward to smoking this.
We smoked one a couple days back, man.
Yeah, exactly. So Friday night we smoked the Davidoff Yamasa,
Yeah.
and then the whole weekend I've been just thinking, okay, when's the next one? The Rocky Patel, it's gonna be good, and it sounds good, like the Cameroon, uh, 2003 vintage, but it's just
No, like
not enjoyable.
maybe on like, not the next episode whether we should, but the one after that, we should all smoke. So we have a bunch of sticks that we were gifted by the Leaf Master. I've been
Yeah,
wanting to maybe do a review on one, but
mm,
maybe it would be interesting for each of us like to
a
pick a
different
stick,
stick.
and we'll have that. I'm super excited about the Brazilian one.
yeah.
I want you like to try the Judge, and then there are three or four more in that collection.
Yeah, I'm also
That you can
looking
choose from
forward to
all.
smoke the unlabeled cigars that I have in
Yeah.
my possession. They've been aging for a long time, revived for a long time as well. So, and
Are,
I have some Rocky Patels as well. They've
Okay.
been aging for around like 10, 12 years.
are planning on smoking a few of those in Jordan when you go, like the ones that are with the non-branded ones.
No, honestly, I want to smoke it with you guys.
Give one a shot because when you have a lot, I brought mine when I went to Saudi, if you remember the one that you gave me, and if I had the chance, I would have smoked it,
Mm.
just because, um, with revived sticks, you won't like know until you smoke it if you actually, if the flavors are
Yeah, and that's why I
back
want to
there.
smoke it with you guys, because I wouldn't like be 100% sure if it's a good stick or
I
not.
don't know, man. Like if we do an episode with those sticks, they might be really really bad. So we're gonna
Yeah, which
probably have
is
to have a backup stick in case we can't smoke those.
no, which is fine. But that's the thing. It's interesting to have an episode with something that you have no idea how it's gonna go when you
Yeah.
smoke. You're
But
like,
if the viewers are watching this, they can and we can see the shot on the laptop. It probably looks like Adam's guarding the humidor so we don't break in and
from
take
Tallham,
take some cigars.
and it is a lovely, lovely humidor.
It has some amazing cigars on there. I'm thinking,
Of switching.
I'm checking what's in stock.
so over this weekend I went down a bit of a rabbit hole. I do that a lot, and it was about unlabeled Cuban cigars. So if you remember, we've come across a lot of these unlabeled Cuban cigars. So here in Vintage, they have some. Then I smoked the one that was the equivalent of a Bihiki 56. So what I understand is when a lot of these Cuban farms, 90% they sell their stock to Habanos SA, but 10% they keep. So some of these farms have become really famous for providing Americans with unbranded Cuban cigars.
Hmm.
And they basically contact them through Instagram, Facebook, and some of them have the Cohiba. They shape them according to the Behiki sizes, so Behiki 52, 56, 4, 56, and they can be hit and miss depending on the farm. But the one I had was insane. I loved it, right? I would love to try the unbranded Cubans that are here in Vintage.
Hmm.
There's two different types. There's a lighter color and a darker color. Um, I wonder what they're gonna taste like. I think that's an episode on itself.
Would you say that those unbranded Cubans, you enjoyed them like more than the branded ones you've had?
No, well, the branded ones, you know what you're getting. The unbranded ones is very must be hit and miss. I had a really good one.
Did you have a bad one before?
I've not had any. That was the only unbranded.
So that's the only one you've had so far.
Yeah, the only other ones I've seen are here in Vintage, so
Hmm.
we need to try them.
Have you ever had a bad Cuban cigar?
Yes, I've had bad Cubans.
Quintero.
No, no, and it wasn't about the brand. It was about it was a construction issue every time.
No, no,
The,
not
the draw
construct. Like
was
from.
too tight, and and it wouldn't get unclogged, and it just like ruined the entire stick.
I mean, from a flavor
Flavor
perspective.
profile?
Yeah.
I'd say that I've had quite a few Cubans that were probably one dimensional. It has those Cuban flavors that you're
Yeah.
looking for, but it just all throughout the smoke is getting those notes.
Hmm.
So
Which one is?
I'd say probably like the with Romeo and Julieta number 2 is probably a base. It's probably one of the Cubans that is one of the first Cubans anybody would have is the Romeo and Juliet number 2, and I'd say it's a good smoke, right? But it's quite a basic smoke, I'd say. Um, and I'm not gonna put the Quinteros or the
Hmm.
Pedros because the short filler, etc. etc. But I'm talking about
Like proper.
like proper ones. Um,
I enjoyed the number ones, the Romeo Juliet number ones. I liked them. They're,
But you would, but you would, but you would say that that they're quite one-dimensional smokes. Like if you would compare them to the limited editions ones, it's night and day.
yeah, I
It
mean,
really is. Even though they're both Cubans, right? But like just they those limited editions ones take the definition of smoothness to
Yeah.
another dimension, I'd say.
But I can't wait for you guys to try the Partagas number twos. Incredible.
I've had that, but it was early on, so I want to have it again, just to properly. One of the smokes I want us to one day also try on the pod are the Lusitanias, the Partagas
Yeah.
Lusitanias. That was it's a long smoke, and I remember that when I had it, my wife was in Saudi. It was Eid, and I had like 3 days on my own. Um, and I went into a Casa del Habano, and and they had it in stock, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna buy it. And that day, I like went to and I had a steak, and then I went to Peacock Alley, and and I smoked it through, and it was one of the most enjoyable sticks I had.
And I think it's because it's associated to the story behind it. You had
Hmm.
the day for yourself.
Yeah,
You're
or
enjoying your
I
time.
created that date because I had that stick. If it wasn't the Partagas Lusitanias and the fact that it's
Yeah.
never in stock, it's one of the hardest Partagas to get your hands on. It's Michael Jordan's go-to stick,
Yeah.
so because of that hype, it's never in stock. With the fact that it was in stock, and I remember that they just had one box of it, and there were like 3 left, and I just I grabbed one, and they've every time that I went in after that, it's never been in stock, and it's been like 3 years.
You ever been to the butcher shop?
The
There's a
butcher shop.
the one in Jumeirah, and there's one. It used to be in Golden Diamond Park. I think there's one here next to Vintage, across the road on the other side. It's just a steak shop where they sell steaks, still beef. So one of the best things you can do is you go there, buy a nice cut of ribeye, get a nice cigar, take it home, cook the steak. There's a certain way to cook a steak. Eat the steak, have a cigar. Oh, it's the best evening you could have.
What's your go-to like way or method to cook a steak?
So what you do is you buy a quality ribeye. So it's probably like a not a grain fed, generally, yeah, a grain fed, not a grass fed, from like Australia or something. And you take it home and you let it rest, let it come to room temperature. So probably about like 3, 4, 5 hours. Just let it rest. Then you get a pan, use extra virgin olive oil. Boom, put it in the pan, let it heat up. Let it heat up so much that you can't put your hand over the oil because it's so hot. Then you get the steak, you put some salt, both sides, wee bit of pepper, boom, put it in. Every 15 seconds, flip it, flip it, flip it. Within 2 minutes is done. You take it off, let it rest 5 minutes, and then you eat it. Or you buy it the day before, you salt and pepper it, leave it in the fridge overnight,
You
and then
dry out.
you take it out, let it come to room temperature, boom.
No, I cook my steaks. I cook them. Have you heard of the reverse
Yeah,
sear method?
yeah,
Did you guys hear that?
yeah.
With the reverse sear?
So you're gonna
Did you
you
hear
put it
the
in the
reverse?
oven first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I do is I put the salt on, and then I just because what happens is when you put the salt in,
Yeah,
you have to put the salt in and cook it straight away, or put the salt.
All the juices will come out.
Yeah, and you let the whole osmosis thing go through, which needs at least an hour or two, and then you cook it. But what with me, I struggle to get the temperature I'd want if I cook it on the pan when it's raw, because I would tend to over cook it every time.
that's why you keep flipping it every 15 seconds. It's called the Maillard effect. It'll keep cooking the layer, and then you flip it, cook it, boom, and then 2 minutes you're done.
So what I liked about the reverse sear method is that I'd get a cast iron pan. Then when it's in the oven, I have a thermometer that I would put inside it, and I just and I wait until it gets up to like medium rare, and then take it out, and then I like to cook it with ghee, like not olive oil. Uh, for me, I prefer to cook the steak in a fat that comes from the cow itself. So if it's ghee or beef tallow or
Yeah.
whatever it is, and like you said, you have to get it piping hot. But because it's already cooked to the doneness that you want in the oven, the only purpose of the pan at this point is to create a crust.
Yeah.
So you just want to create that crust, and then it's off the pan.
Yeah.
And with meat, that's been probably like it's a lot more idiot proof, I'd say, especially if you're not if you're not that skilled in identifying when to stop cooking that steak.
Wasn't there like a time where you were dry aging?
Yeah, I mean, I went so this is actually a funny story. So me and my like wife at the time, at the time,
Wife at the time.
she wasn't my wife. We were just friends in university. We watched a documentary on Netflix called Cowspiracy.
Yeah.
Have you guys heard of that? Where basically it's like it takes you through the entire all of the crap that happens in the meat industry and what the animals go, and it completely just turns you off commercial meat products in general. So we watched that, and then my wife was like made the decision to become a vegan right there and then. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, me too. This was a bit eye opening. I'm gonna be a vegan too. Maybe 3 weeks in, I quit. I'm like, yeah, this is I can't be a vegan, man. I'm hungry all the time. This makes no sense. So I went back to meat. My wife did this for probably 8 or 9 months.
Wow.
I did it
Hardcore
for
vegan.
about 2 years.
Yeah, like hardcore vegan.
Yeah.
So so one of the things that I got into at the time was I wanted to try to dry age a piece of meat. So I remember I bought a an entire slab of sirloin from Prime Gourmet.
Yeah.
So
And
before you continue, right? So I was visiting Dubai at the time, still a kid, coming in here. Tom was living at his parents' house still, and we used to stay at their
Yeah.
house. So they had like three fridges
yeah,
at their
three
place,
fridges
right?
in the house.
There's one in the kitchen, there's like two in the hallway. And one was known to have all kinds of drinks, like soft drinks, like coconut water.
Yeah,
His dad was he likes his
his
soft drinks.
beverages.
Exactly. And then there was one where you open the fridge and all you see in front of you is this huge slab
Of meat.
of meat in front of you, and you have no idea what's happening
What
because
was
you see
going
like
on?
this white stuff under it, like the salt and the stuff.
So basically, what I did was I got a flat pan and I created a bed of salt, and then I got like a rack where the slab of meat was just a bit elevated, and I just put it in the fridge. Now, technically, you're supposed to be a bit more sanitary. You're supposed to put it in a fridge with nothing else in it because of all the
Yeah.
bacteria and stuff. But I was like, what? I just want to try to dry age this big slab of meat. And if you try to dry age just a cut of steak, you're gonna waste a lot you know, of the steak itself. So it's not so. When you dry age, it's only like worth dry aging if it's a big slab of meat.
Right.
So my initial plan was to dry age it for 1 month, and then I remember at the time that my dad was working in Qatar for maybe for like 3 or 4 like weeks out of the month, and then he'd just be in town like for a few days. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to dry age this big slab of meat, and then when my dad's in town, we're going to slice it up and we'll cook it.
Mm.
So that month he ended up not coming, so it got pushed 1 more month. So I actually dry aged it for 2 months. Um, so the day that we cooked up the steak, it came up to around 10 steaks, and I had paid around 500 or so for the slab
Mm.
of meat, and the fact that it came up to 10 steaks of around 1.5 to 2 inches each, a good value
Yeah.
for money. And I invited my wife over. I'm like, look, we'll make you like some hummus or something on the side, but just have a bite. It's okay. It's been a while. Just but you need to have a bite of this. We cooked up the steaks. We did the sides. It was the whole thing. And she came in and she had a bite, and with the look on her face of eating this like dry aged,
Yeah.
perfect, like a perfectly cooked steak. Like she ate a whole steak,
She was like,
and
that's
then and then she's like, I'm not a
I'm
vegan
not
anymore. This is
vegan.
way too good. This is way too good.
So, and I remember that every time I walked in the hallway, I would see Tallham just passing by, opening the fridge and just looking at the slab, just looking at us like, then closing it and just moving away. Every day he would do the same thing.
Because I was one of the things I was actually scared of was of mold. Because if it starts to mold up, then basically I'll have to throw away the entire
Yeah.
slab meat, and my
You
whole
can just
project.
buy it dry aged.
You can, but it's really expensive. At the time, it wasn't much option, but now I've noticed in almost every major
You'll find
supermarket, and they
some.
have it just their own dry aged
Yeah.
slab.
I heard there's a place in Wafi Mall that has just dry aged steaks.
That's the place where I had my steak
Yeah.
before I smoked my Lusitanias.
Okay.
It was in that place, but but they're quite expensive, I'd say. If you have the passion and the time to dry age it yourself, you'll save yourself a lot of money.
Yeah. Fair enough. So Prime Gourmets, yeah, that's where I generally buy the steaks.
I tried some steaks. I bought some from the Meat Avenue.
Okay.
Heard of? Um,
Where's
it
the
was
meat?
decent.
Where's Meat Avenue?
So there's one in JLT and one in Jumeirah Road.
Meat Avenue. It's a restaurant.
So
Or
it
is
started
it
as a butchery, but
Okay.
they also opened a restaurant in the Jumeirah one. But in the JLT one, and they sell also like it's a Lebanese butchery. They sell also Lebanese
Okay.
meat and stuff, but they also have a good selection of steaks. They have a good selection of cheese as well. The steak there is good, and they have those. You can buy them online. They have their own website on Chat Food, where you can just buy some stuff.
So there's a place we need to go, and it's called Hugo's Argentinian Steakhouse in Jumeirah. I heard they're quite reasonably priced steakhouse. It's supposed to be really good.
What's the name?
Hugo.
Hugo's.
What's your take on Brazilian steak or churrasco
Brazilian is
experience?
generally like mass produced, right?
Mm.
So generally, the average steak that you're gonna have is probably Brazilian in the supermarket. But
No, I mean going to a Brazilian steakhouse. What
okay,
do they
like
call it? The churrasco
yeah,
experience?
yeah, yeah. The ones where you get the unlimited meat.
Because they have like some really good selection. Like they give you like what they call it the Patania.
Um, The picanha.
Picanha.
Yeah, they're known for
picanha.
they're for the picanhas.
Yeah,
So
picanhas are good, and
there's a place DIFC in Central Park Towers.
yeah, that's the one that we went to, right?
Fogo de Chao.
Forgot to tell.
Yeah, it's a
Which is pretty
decent
good.
place.
Yeah, I really like it.
Frevo is also good in Fairmont. It's literally next to the cigar
Yeah,
shop and
room.
the cigar room as well.
The
Yeah,
cigar room, yeah.
There's one in the Mall of Emirates.
yeah, the Texas de Brazil.
Texas de Brazil.
I don't really like them that much. Texas de Brazil. Always find that it's like the steak quality isn't the best. But usually Frevo is really good. There's also Figuero and JBR. So there's a bunch of them, and they're actually really good. Like that's the thing for me. I enjoy them a bit more than having because I enjoy the selection. You're having a little like a
Yeah.
slice of each. You get to go from this and that, and you get to see the difference between them in one sitting, rather than just having one steak. I would say, and they're always like seasoned perfectly. But you always have the regret after you're done because you've eaten so much that to the
Yeah.
point where like
We get the meat sweats.
you exactly you're basically like okay I'm gonna stay off steaks for like the next
while.
2-3 months. I can't handle
But I
one.
love their salad bars as well.
Bro, I love the grilled pineapples that they give
Yeah.
you to just to cleanse your palate, the pineapple with the cinnamon and sugar.
But have you ever had an Argentinian steak?
No.
I've never had it, but I've watched a documentary on the way that they cook their like meat, and it's quite unique because um, they slow cook their beef with an indirect flame, and there's a place called Asado, or Asada,
Yeah.
that that specializes in Argentinian steaks,
I
and
think
I've
that's
always
in
wanted like to
the
try it
Palace Hotel
in
downtown.
the Palace Hotel. And everybody that I know who tried it was like it's one of the most unique pieces of meat that they've had.
So that's why we need to go to Hugo because it's a more reasonable priced than Asado, and it's supposed to be really good.
Yeah, well, just let's contact the owner, and if he's into cigars, we can get him on the pod. Then maybe we can go there look for steaks after we shoot.
But have you ever had much Texas barbecue?
I haven't had. I've tried brisket, but a proper Texas barbecue, I've never had that.
I've had a little bit of
Okay.
Mutter farm. I like the stuff that they do, but nothing too much of it to actually say that this is something amazing.
Okay, so I've got a surprise for you guys next month.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're opening your own Texas shop.
Barbecue shop.
So there's one of the best Texas barbecue places. We're gonna do an episode with them, and we're gonna go there for lunch as well. And what they do is they are experts in slow cooking meat, and they have huge smokers. And what they do is there's two different types of meat. One is called brisket, one's called pastrami. The pastrami is generally cured in kind of like a
Yep.
marinade, and then you get it's a big piece of beef that's then put into the smoker for like 24 hours,
Yep.
and then they take it out and they wrap it in foil, and when they serve it to the customers, they cut off like pieces of it, and they sell it to you like by 100 grams. So you get like 100 grams of this, and then they give you like on the sides they'll give you some chilies,
Yep.
some like beetroot, whatever, and you can get fries with it or corn salad. Oh, that's the most incredible thing.
Have you ever had brisket with honey?
No.
So there is one place. Also, I think they opened up here. The same experience
Yeah.
called Meat Mood.
Yeah, I've heard.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a Turkish place.
Actually, so the guy is Jordanian, or like they started in Jordan as a Palestinian Jordanian, and then there was also Chef Iyad,
Yeah.
both places, and then they were working together, and then they split up. So one is called Meat Mood, and the other one is.
I thought it was Turkish. Istanbul.
No, not really. They have one in Istanbul.
Yeah.
That's they opened one there,
I
but
thought that was the original.
but the owner isn't. But they have this thing where they give you like a small jar of honey.
Yeah.
You just put honey on it. It takes it to the next level.
I've seen their concept. Is basically you sit down and the sides are free, and you go to the counter and they have their smokers,
Yep.
and you say, I want that meat and I want 200 grams, and then they serve it to you and you take it back to your table and you already got the sides there.
Yep.
Mm.
Yeah, exactly. And they're really good. They're really decent. They're really good.
Yeah, they're in City Walk.
Yes, there's in City Walk. It's above the French bakery.
What if you guys had to choose between a steak and a slow cooked, basically brisket or whatever it is? What would be your choice?
I wouldn't choose between them because
If
I
you had
think
to,
I don't know, it's like saying, would you rather have a Cuban cigar or a non-Cuban?
I'd have it's for me it's a Cuban all day.
Well, no.
If you had to choose, that's what I'm saying. If you had to choose the one or the other,
from
with
a
me it's always a steak.
from
I
a
prefer a
flavor,
steak every time.
honestly, from a
But have you
flavor
ever had a
perspective,
proper Texas bar?
I've had slow cooked brisket and all that kind of stuff,
But
like a
from
proper
where?
one.
but not a proper Texas
Yeah.
barbecue.
No,
Okay, so reserve your judgment until
yeah.
we go there on,
So,
next month.
for me, the flavor when it comes to smoked meat is something else. Like you can't have that flavor from steak.
Is it the fact that it's smoked or they put some sauce on it or something like that?
Both.
The sauce is there, but the smoke and the like the way that the meat is smoked is it adds flavors that you can actually taste cigars in them, man. It's
Yeah.
because of the smokiness. It's like it's cooked from the smoke coming out of like high quality wood. So yeah, it's
So reserve
super
your
good.
judgment because when you go for lunch, I think it'll be one of the best meals you've ever had
Yeah,
in your
With
life.
big
I don't
tea.
think I
I will
don't.
reserve it. You know what?
It's
Yeah,
like I don't want to
let
disclose
let's
where
save
we're
it.
going
Yeah.
until then, but I think it's gonna be one of the best meals that we would have
Yeah.
in Dubai.
I wouldn't doubt that one bit. Pastrami is actually there's this place in like New York. I think it's called Katz
Yeah.
Deli or something, and for some reason these like shorts have been popping
Yeah.
up on my feed, and with the way that those pastrami sandwiches are made, it was just something else. And I've never had pastrami
So,
either.
so the guy that I'm talking about, he wants to start doing those sandwiches.
Man,
Mm.
if he does, I think, oh my god, just from watching those videos, I'm like, that's not even a sandwich. It's a
Yeah,
heart attack.
exactly. The
It's
amount I don't know how
huge.
you can fit them in your mouth. It's a
They're
lot,
so big.
but it's but that's the thing. It's nice how you can see that, for example, pastrami. It's different from one
Yeah.
culture to the other. Like for example, I don't know if you remember eating bastarma, which is basically pastrami in Lebanon when we were kids.
Is it really the same? Basturma and pastrami, is it the
So
same?
it's not
I
made
know,
the
but
same way, but
basturma, because it's one of the things that my dad would always have in the house.
yeah. So it's a version of pastrami that's cured, but in an Armenian way using Armenian spices.
Oh,
So it's
really?
a bit different than cooked pastrami that you get from those places. But technically, that's what I'm saying. From one civilization to the other, it's completely different, but it's the same concept.
Mm.
Curing them, hanging them, letting them dry for a long period of time.
Oh man, I need this. I need a brisket or pastrami now. But they're only open Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah,
That's it.
That's
and they close when they're out of stock. خلاص.
Yeah.
They have a limited supply in a day. Go in, eat. The moment they're done, they're closed.
Those concepts for me just make a lot of sense
Yeah.
because um, there's this one. and with the fact that they have just limited amounts of supply, and
Hmm.
you have to be there early to get it. It creates a hype
Yeah.
that's
I've
actually
always
quite
wanted
cool.
they also do ribs, which I've always wanted to try. I've never tried, but also their burger is the best burger in Dubai.
That's high praise. Best burger.
Yep.
So would you think we'll be able to try all three that day?
Yeah, go for
The
it.
burger, the ribs,
We're gonna do
and
it.
and the and the with the brisket and the pastrami all at the same time,
And the cigar.
and a cigar
Yeah, I think we'll need to do it like on a Saturday
Yeah.
because Sunday we'll be sleeping off.
all day.
Yeah.
We'll be sleeping it off.
You know, one time I went to Zuma for brunch. It must have been about 12, 13 years ago. I went for a Zuma. That's when Zuma brunch was like the thing on a Friday. And I went there and I ate so much food that then I went home and I slept for 24 hours.
Damn, that's proper food coma.
Yeah, that it literally was a food. All I remember is going home, like just being in and out of consciousness, and by the time I remember waking up, I was like Saturday afternoon,
Wow.
and then I was hungry.
I, anyways, guys, I don't think I wanna
Finish that.
finish this. The aftertaste I'm getting is ashtray. I
Yeah.
think I feel like I I
We've
have an
gone
ashtray in
from
my.
volcanic ash to ashtray
Ashtray.
in a matter of 2 days.
Since you're the one that enjoyed the cigar the most out of us three.
Well, I
Do
think
you have
this.
any closing notes
My
on?
closing notes is that I will be very selective on what Rocky Patels are smoke going forward, and they're probably not going to sponsor our podcast.
If you give it a rating, what would it be?
Oh, this is a rating of about 3 out of 10.
3 out of that's
Three because the construction was really good, the burn was good,
And the
the
smoke
smoke
output was
output
good.
was good. The smell from your cigars is quite nice, but I just didn't enjoy the cigar.
What about you?
I'm not enjoying this part now. I'm getting quite like lightheaded, I'd say. It's not a memorable steak, but it's not like the worst one I've had either. It's probably I've had worse smokes, non-Cubans specifically. And I've had worse ones, but yeah, if you tell me if I'd buy these,
Yeah, I don't think so.
probably not.
I'm so
Yeah,
happy that Adham spent the money for these and not me.
thank you, thank you. Oh, sorry for getting you this stick,
No, it's
but no, but that's the thing.
it's
I
good.
think
It creates perspective.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
have to
now
sometimes not enjoy a cigar to then,
to know that you're actually
yeah,
you have the palate that
you
can
have
say
the
what's
palate.
good and what's
Yeah,
bad.
exactly.
And
Yeah,
plus
100%.
if every one of the episodes that we've had would say, "Oh my God, this," eventually people will say, "Yeah, these guys will just enjoy anything they smoke." So at least now there's people would know that
Yeah.
we have, a certain standard that we like.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And there you have it. I think we'll leave it there.
Yeah, that's the end of our Ramadan series, and
Yes,
it's kind of end of our series one of our podcast.
probably, yeah.
We will come back after Eid with a whole host of new plans, new guests, and some very exciting cigars to come. We have hopefully some new people helping us out with the podcast, and
But Jamie,
yeah, we're gonna be going into a whole new direction. It's gonna be very exciting.
100%. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us all over socials. We will be posting a lot of shorts, a lot of clips as well for you to enjoy. Small digestible, I would say, videos of us. A little bit of behind the scenes as well on our socials. And thank you for everyone that has been tuning in so far and supporting it. I mean, I think,
And making us the number one cigar podcast in the Middle East
yep, there you have it.
and North Africa.
And the world,
one day.
one day, one day. Right?
Yeah, guys. We'll see you on the next one.
See you.